Hello, Liverpool fans. Welcome to the Liverpool Report, your go-to source for the latest news, match updates, and transfer stories straight from Anfield. Don't miss out on any of the action. Hit that subscribe button now and stay in the loop with all things Reds. Virgil van Dijk has warned Liverpool there's no time for errors when they face Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League knockout stages on Wednesday. Van Dijk knows the comfort blanket of the group stage has gone, and instead, one mistake could cost Liverpool their dream of conquering Europe. He is well aware of the massive threat posed by PSG in the Parc des Princes, and the French champions are unbeaten domestically and 13 points clear at the top of Ligue 1. Luis Enrique's side have won their last 10 games and are unbeaten in their last 22 matches in all competitions. Van Dijk noted their 7-0 thumping of Brest in their last Champions League group game, and the Red skipper said, "I expect it to be a very good game over there, against a very good team, a team in form. They played very well in the last Champions League game against Brest, and it will be difficult. But these are the games you want to compete in, and I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, you're coming to the knockout stages, and there's no time for errors, no time for bad games. There are 2 games to get through, but we want to be so good in both games that we deserve to go through. But you have to earn it, you have to fight for it, you have to do everything in your power to win the game, and that's what we're going to try and do. We're definitely aware of how difficult it will be in Paris and then back here, but these are the nights that you want to perform in, and you want to show that to the whole world." Van Dijk also defended Darwin Núñez after head coach Arneslot criticised his work rate. Núñez has just 6 goals and 3 assists from his 34 appearances this season, and Van Dijk claimed he put in a shift in Liverpool's last game against Newcastle. "That's the bare minimum that's been asked from us from day one, but that's the bare minimum anyway for playing for Liverpool," said the Netherlands centre-half. "That was down to him, and it's still down to him, and he showed a great reaction in his work rate. That should be the minimum, and he knows it, so you have to keep going. Everyone has a big role to play, that's the thing. We're all in this together, we need everyone, and he's a big part of our team as well. When he comes on, he has to make a positive impact. He, and the rest of the boys who came on against Newcastle, made a big impact. That's what we need, so we just have to keep that going." Newcastle United have quickly dismissed a player plus cash deal involving Alexander Isak and Darwin Núñez, it has been claimed. Uruguay striker Núñez has struggled to assert himself since making a big money move to Liverpool in 2022 and was linked with a January exit. That didn't materialise, but he could still be on the move come the summer. Swedish international striker Isak could also be playing elsewhere next term, but for different reasons. He has top scored for the Magpies this season with 19 Premier League goals. Only Mohamed Salah and Erling Haaland have more for any club, with a number of clubs linked with a summer swoop. Arsenal have long been fans of Isak, but Liverpool appear to have attempted to steal a march on their rivals. They may have to try harder if they're to get a deal over the line, though. According to Chronicle Live, Liverpool's approach has been rejected out of hand by Newcastle. The outlet doesn't specify exactly how much money was being offered in addition to Núñez, but Newcastle manager Eddie Howe has consistently argued he has no plans to let Isak leave St James Park. Alex has got a long contract anyway, and we have to be really careful regarding our spending due to PSR, Howe said in October. "We love him, and are desperate for him to stay at Newcastle for many years and score loads and loads of goals for us, but I don't see a short-term issue with his contract." He continued, "Absolutely, there will be ongoing talks, but Alex can only help his situation by playing well. He is an outstanding talent, really good with the ball, really intelligent, and a deadly goal scorer when he is at his absolute best." When Howe made those comments, Isak had scored just once in 6 Premier League outings. He has been prolific since, though, with a highlight coming around the turn of the year when he scored in 8 straight Premier League outings. The 25-year-old also scored in Carabao Cup victories over Chelsea and Arsenal to help Newcastle reach the final. He will hope to be fit for the meeting with Liverpool on March 16th, having been taken off during Sunday's FA Cup defeat against Brighton. Newcastle lost in extra time against Fabian Hürzeler's Seagulls, with winger Anthony Gordon shown a straight red card following a clash with Jan-Paul van Hecke. The England international is set to face a 3-match ban, which would keep him out of the Carabao Cup final, but the club are planning an appeal. Liverpool are ramping up plans for a huge Champions League last 16 clash against Paris Saint-Germain on Wednesday night. The Reds have benefited from a small break after not being involved in the FA Cup this weekend, following their shock exit at the hands of Plymouth in the last round. Arneslot will be happy to get an extended rest ahead of a massive game in Paris, where his players will be up against a dangerous PSG side under Luis Enrique. As Liverpool build up to the Champions League clash, Mirror Football has broken down all the biggest news around Anfield. While Mohamed Salah continues to enjoy arguably the best season of his storied career, he is no closer to agreeing a new deal with Liverpool, with the player set to become a free agent this summer as things stand. The Egyptian has been a sensation this term and looks likely to guide the Reds to the Premier League title after helping the team go 13 points clear of Arsenal. And some might be surprised that Liverpool aren't desperate to lock him down. But after watching him plunder 30 goals for Liverpool this season and provide 22 assists, Match of the Day pundit Alan Shearer admitted he would be stunned if Liverpool didn't do everything in their power to keep him at Anfield. "I think without a doubt that this is the best version of Mo Salah we've seen," Shearer says, speaking to Betfair. "I said earlier in the season that we should see what happens in terms of a 1% drop in his levels due to his contract situation, but that hasn't happened. On the contrary, he seems to be getting even better and stronger as the season goes on. There's still no word on his contract situation, but I'd be amazed if Liverpool don't sort something out to keep him at least for another year or two." Losing Mo Salah would be huge for Liverpool and the Premier League, because he's an iconic player. Everything he's doing right now seems to result in either a goal or an assist. Even against Newcastle on Wednesday night, Lewis Hall gave him a really good battle, but some of his bits of quality were just superb. He is an icon of the Premier League, no doubt about it. Slot will be wary that a number of his players are walking a tightrope ahead of the game at the Parc des Princes. Going into the match, Ibrahima Konate, Andy Robertson and Harveyelliott are all one yellow card away from a 1-game suspension after being cautioned twice. Meanwhile, Alexis Mac Allister is also 1 card away from being banned, having already served a 1-match ban earlier in the season. He is currently on 4 yellow cards in the competition. Slot might be tempted to tinker with his XI as a result to make sure not all of his affected 4 players are in the firing line, in case he ends up losing all of them. The Dutchman also has another possible conundrum with 4 players set to miss the match against PSG. Joe Gomez and Tyler Morton are long-term absentees after undergoing surgery for hamstring and shoulder problems respectively, while Connor Bradley is out. Young defender Amara Nallo will be suspended too, so Slot will be hopeful the 4 at risk of suspension do not add to his problems. It takes more than a 2-man team to win the Premier League title. As Liverpool close in on domestic football's big pot, there can be no doubt as to the twin pillars propping up the charge to the top. At the back, Virgil van Dijk, and up front, Mo Salah. When you are around full-time professional football, people routinely ask who you fancy to finish on top of the pile, and the response from autumn time has always been the same. Keep that pair fit, and the Reds will be home and hosed. Without either for a significant length of time, the self-assuredness of any team would take a hit. In fact, that point has already been proven. Jordan Pickford's desperate challenge on the Dutch defender saw to that a few years ago. Eventually, the absences of top players seep into results. Nevertheless, the back of this campaign has been broken. Arsenal, suffering from a raft of injuries, have fallen by the wayside. Others were never seriously in contention. Chelsea, still an undercurrent of chaos. And, judging from their display at Villa last week, are way too open defensively to mount any challenge. Nottingham Forest, capable but limited, have been 3rd in the standings for some time. All power to Nuno Espirito Santo. But the weight of pressure has finally told upon Manchester City, fissures turning into cracks. So, this season's isn't a vintage competition. However, 2 men alone cannot make up a team. One man who appears to go under the radar, but who is becoming increasingly important to Arne Slot, is Dominik Szoboszlai. If anyone has stepped up to the plate during the past few months, it's been him. He gives this Liverpool side real energy and drive from midfield. He pops up in spaces with his late runs that make a difference, and he's one of the best out there at doing it. The Hungarian international is given the platform by Ryan Gravenberch. At this point, it's interesting to note that Slot knew the 22-year-old defensive midfielder because of their shared time in Holland. The youngster started his career playing in a deep-lying role, but as he grew up, he began being moved about. At this point, Liverpool's boss needs a name check. It's well established that the Reds were looking for a number 6, as people today may baffle you with. The club pursued Martin Zubimendi, lodging a £60 million offer for the Real Sociedad man. Whether Slot turned up at Anfield and put the block on that, saying, "Save your money," we'll never know. The narrative has been that the Spaniard turned the club down, but, according to a contact of mine in the Netherlands, the Reds boss will have known about Gravenberch. He has maintained him in that position, and both he and his midfield partner Szoboszlai have flourished. The blend is similar to that which Chelsea enjoyed when Claude Makélélé did all the dirty work for Frank Lampard a couple of decades ago. There's no way that the England international would have ended his career as that club's all-time leading goalscorer, were it not for others plugging gaps when he strode forward. And if there's one area Szoboszlai may look to improve next term, it's in his goals output. So far, his career has been characterized by a 1 in 5 strike rate. There is no reason why, given the timing of his runs, that should not be improved. After all, he's still just 24 years old. Time is on his side. If there has been one criticism, it's that the goals have not been shared around. The weight has been on Salah's shoulders. Luis Diaz, 10 Diogo Jota, 5 and Darwin Núñez 4 can hardly be described as prolific. Add a regular flow of goals to Szoboszlai's game, and his contribution to the Merseysiders' cause may start grabbing the attention it should.